Hey, it's Huck. And I guess today is a mixture of good and bad news. I was intending to do a video today about something I've been looking forward to for a very long time, which is tomorrow's broadcast of Season 6, Episode 1 of Game of Thrones, in which case the answer to the question, is Jon Snow going to come back to life, and how, supposedly will be answered. But something came up this morning, and it kind of changed all that. So let me just start back from the beginning here. First of all, I want to thank my brother for giving me this jacket. This is a really nice little, I don't know what they call this. I think, many generations ago they called these pea coats or something. I don't know. But it's really nice. It's got a little hoodie. Never worn it before. It's a little chilly out here. But it's nice. It's sunny. It's a pleasant day, but I thought I'd better wear a jacket. The truth is, it's not any warmer in the house. And that's what I discovered this morning. It has taken me forever to try to get caught up with things and try to get back on, some kind of a steady footing, but seems like there's always something. And, I had a couple of things lined up that I really wanted to do. I wanted to get some teeth taken care of. I wanted to get this basement window taken care of. My heater didn't kick on this morning, and, I don't know too much about furnaces. But we have a gas furnace, and it's about 10 years old since we had that put in. And at any rate, I ended up having to call a repair person today. It's a Saturday, so I didn't really expect him to be able to come today, but he did. Charged me $55 for the house call. But I was hoping it was just something simple, like, I don't know, maybe it has a pilot light. Now, apparently it has some kind of a motor that said pulls the CO2 through, I don't know. Motor, $500 to $600 range. Well, I don't have that. I don't have that saved up anyway, no how. At best, I could have come up with maybe about $220 today, beyond the $55 I paid the guy. So I guess I could call another expert and come out here, but I'd end up just paying that person, $50 or $60 for the house call plus. So, at any rate, there's no way I'm going to get that done anytime real soon. So I guess I'm going to be looking forward to some chilly nights here, but that's all right. I guess I got some sweaters and stuff. I worry about that only because, I'll be honest with you, I have not been well here the last really couple of months. One of the reasons why I haven't been making videos is because, frankly, I have had no energy, and I've been too sick to do much of anything. It's all I can do to get up and, make my meals. And it kills me because, normally this time of year I'd be out doing yard work, and I've tried. This is, you got to give me credit for trying. I strap on my little oxygen unit, and I go out in the yard and I try to dig a weed or two. I have a little garden out here I'll show you in a moment. And it's been killing me that I couldn't weed my garden. This year, instead of buying flowers, which is what I usually do every year, last couple of years I couldn't afford to go out and spend, $20 or $30 on annuals or whatever. And I know the last couple of years I just started buying a few perennials, so I wouldn't have to do this every year, but I nowhere near complete with that. So what I had a couple of these boxes. One was a box of Impatience. You know what I'm talking about. You buy these boxes for like a $1.50 at the dollar store, and it's got seed with a lot of, just, I don't know, mixture, and you just sprinkle it. It's supposed to cover like a 25-foot square foot in. So I had like 3 of those, 2 of Impatience and 1 of these little white flowers called Alicia. And so I have 3 little boxes out front. So the 2 on the sides I wanted to, do with the Patience. They're mostly reds and pinks, and then the white Alicia in the middle. And but unfortunately, I had to weed all the weeds out of there first before I could do that. And at any rate, I tried to do that for a couple of days, but every time I go out there and even pull up like 1 or 2 weeds, even with my oxygen, I was so out of breath, it was really starting to scare me. The truth is, my health was starting to really scare me. So I finally went to the doctor, something I probably should have done 2 months ago. And he gave me a prescription for an antibiotic. And about 2 or 3 days after I started taking this, suddenly I woke up, I think it was the day before yesterday, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, after I was up for about an hour or two, I started feeling really much better than I remember feeling in a long time. And I went out there and I got all my weeding done. I mean, I had my, well, at any rate, so for one day I felt really, really good. I got my weeding done. I sprinkled the seed out there, hooked up the hose. Well, I had a friend help me with that, but so I can keep it watered and keep it kind of, damp, so the seeds will sprout. You have now. Normally, if I was planting flowers, I wouldn't have bothered to do that until next month. My rule of thumb is you don't plant your flowers until after whatever it is, Mother's Day in May. But if you're going to go with seeds, you pretty much have to start in April because it takes so many weeks for them to, sprout. It's like a 10-week period before so at any rate. So I got all that done. The bad news was I woke up this morning and I had no heat. And it turns out it's going to be like I don't know, said somewhere between $500 and $600, with the labor and all. And I don't know. I mean, right now, there's just no way. I've got a little bit of money in the bank, but by the time I pay, my bills that come out at the beginning of the month, my car insurance, my cell phone bill just came, my, I don't know, there's a couple of things. At any rate, about $200 worth of bills, $225 worth of bills I got to pay right at the beginning of the month. And so that's got to come out of this. And, well, at any rate. So it's kind of a mix of good and bad news. The good news is I was beginning to fear that my health was getting so bad I'd never be able to do anything again. I mean, literally, really beginning to worry about just how bad my health really was becoming. But it turned out it was just a lung infection that I needed an antibiotic for. And so I have, really, I can't tell you the relief I have knowing that I can actually have really good days again. I kind of had a setback again today a little bit. I don't feel as good as I did the day before yesterday. But that's probably because I overdid it. And at any rate, what are you going to do? Probably nothing more important than your health. And, when you start really, really starting to worry about your health, I'll be honest with you, everything else doesn't matter that much anymore. So the fact that is kind of, that burden has kind of been relieved for me a bit, I can deal with the other problems. I want to take a moment one more time here to thank someone very, very special who's continued to help me. And I honestly can't tell you how guilty it makes me feel that I've been the recipient of your kindness. But I also don't know where the heck I would be today without it. And I don't know. There's a real big thing about hope. And I guess the one thing that you have done more than anything else is that you've instilled in me a sense of hope that I can, finally climb out of this at some point. I just lament the fact that it's taken so long, and I haven't reached that point. And now I've got this damn furnace thing. But I went ahead today, and I don't know what the result of this is going to be, but I I sent away and I applied for a credit card. Now, I don't get a lot of credit card offers, and I haven't had a credit card in quite some time because the last thing I need is another bill to pay anyway. But this dawned on me today that, this is the type of an emergency that can crop up. I don't know. I'm driving a car that's 11 years old, and although it's running really well right now, and I've put enough money into it in the last, 6 months or so last year. But the truth is, you never know when something's going to go wrong. This furnace is a good example of why, in a pinch, maybe you do need a credit card. So I applied for one. Now, I don't know. I'm probably only going to be approved for like the minimum. And I actually have to pay a fee just to get this damn card, which, my credit score, I can remember a few years ago. Well, when I bought my car, about 7 years ago, my credit score was 724. When I checked on my credit score about a year ago, when I first had to stop working and I was scrambling to sell everything I owned, and my credit score had dropped significantly. I was around 650. Well, now it's right around 580 something, 585. So I haven't even looked. I'm going to take some time to, get my free credit report scores. You can do that once a year. I did it last year, which is, like I say, when I noticed that my score was around, 650 or so. But now, I looked it up and it's like 585. So I don't know. There's 8 things on the report, but I haven't seen the report. So I don't know what those 8 things are. I know I went through a number of months these last, year where I was behind in a lot of bills, a few things I couldn't pay at all. For the most part, I've caught up with everything. Certainly all the services that I still have. And so I don't know what's on my credit report. I guess I need to look. So I don't know what is going to be a result of me turning in this this credit card information and application. And I guess you could do it online, but I probably didn't want to know the bad news, so I mailed it. So I got that out today. And like I say, if they accept me, they're going to hit me with like a $75 fee right off the bat. If they accept me, So I've never had to do that before. But like I said, I've reached the point where I think it's probably important that I have something, in an emergency at any rate. So, that said, Game of Thrones Season 6. Now, I can't tell you the last time I was this excited to see something. We have waited a year to find out what happened to Jon Snow. I mean, he's clearly dead. The producers, the actors, the cast, everybody's made it very clear that he's dead. But it's not just the year that the TV audience has been waiting to see the fate of Jon Snow. When we left at the end of Season 5, he was laying in the snow, having been stabbed to death by his fellow Watchers of the Wall. And he clearly looked dead. Now, we know that Melisandre has shown up, and that she's, supposedly capable of resurrecting him. Or at least one other character in this has displayed that talent in this show, who subscribes to the same religion. So we assume she has that ability, although she hasn't demonstrated that herself. So a lot of people are of the assumption that Melisandre being there at the wall when this occurred, is going to be Johnny on the spot and bring him back to life. But there are several other theories out there. One prominent theory, of course, is that Jon, like his brother Bran, has this ability to warg and to leave his body and to have his spirit occupy, in this case, his direwolf ghost. And while he's not as practiced in this ability as his younger brother Bran, or half-brother Bran, it's pretty clear that he does have, he has had some experiences that lead us to believe he has the ability to do that. So some have speculated that just before he died, he left his body and is going to be now, a direwolf until somebody can bring his body back alive. Or maybe he'll go a whole season as a direwolf before that happens. Anyway, that's one of the speculations. One of the real big speculations is that he becomes one of the Walking Dead, one of these the new Dark Knight White Walkers, and that he is going to end up leading the White Walkers as the army invading Westeros. And according to that theory, it'll be his stepbrother Bran, who, for all intents and purposes, is becoming one with a tree right now. That Bran will be somehow, in some way, leading the effort against him. So that's another theory. So there's all kinds of speculation going on there, and I wish I had a clue which one was true. I think most viewers have fallen in love with Jon Snow and would like to see him come back, as himself again. And anyway, there's really no way of telling exactly what's going to happen. But hopefully all of that is going to be revealed, or at least part of that's going to be revealed in tomorrow's episode. And so I'm very much looking forward to watching that show. Which theory, whether it was one of the ones I just presented, or maybe it's one that you've heard elsewhere or come up with your own, I'd be really interested in hearing, which theory you subscribe to that you think is going to come about. But you've only got today, basically, to let your thoughts be known, because, hopefully tomorrow evening, Sunday, it's going to be revealed. And now I've still got HBO as part of my dish package, but I'm going to have to pay. Found out if I cancel HBO, they'll let me keep HBO for half price for a period of time until I want to get rid of it. But at least for a period of months, I can keep it for like $7.50 more a month. Which, I hate to do it. I don't have the money, but I'm going to do it. So that I can watch the 10-episode season of Game of Thrones. Then after that, I don't care. I'll get rid of it. But it's interesting, though, that the Game of Thrones season 6 is once again going to be 10 episodes, which, if you think about it, in TV world, 10 episode per season series are really a pain in the ass. It's just that these shows are so good. But if you think about it, like Vikings, one of my favorite shows, which, by the way, just had a crazy twist this week. Bates Motel is another good example. Now Game of Thrones. Each of these very popular shows on TV are only 10 weeks per season. And then the season's over, and you got to wait a year, to see it again. Well, the producers of HBO's Game of Thrones recently let it be known that while there had been talk that there was going to be probably 8 seasons in all, this being season 6 means that there'd be 2 more seasons after this year. And while this season has a full 10 episodes for us to enjoy, it came out here a few weeks ago that the producers feel there's really only about 13 episodes left. That's about all they'll need to film after this season, to complete the saga. And that means they're contemplating something like a season 7 with maybe, 7 episodes instead of 10, and then a final 8th season with maybe as few as 6 episodes. Nah, I don't know. First of all, that pisses me off. I mean, if that's the way they're going to do it, I guess I would prefer that they just filmed the whole 13 episodes and gave it to us all next year. But it does kind of make us feel like we're being cheated somehow. And I can't help but think that, they've reached a point now where, season 5 basically ended at the point where George R.R. Martin, the author of this series, stopped writing. Martin finished book 5 basically exactly where the 5th series ended last year with Jon Snow lying in the snow dead. And so, for readers of the books, they haven't waited a year for the answer to this question. They've waited close to 5 years because he's still not launched book 6. And that's how long it's been since he wrote book 5. So, I guess what I'm thinking is the fact that they've finally run out of materials from the actual released books. And there's so much material in those books that they didn't really delve into in the series because you're condensing these books to like basically 10 episodes. Now that they don't have his writing to go by, and so they've basically going by whatever clues and information he's been able to forward to the producers, and other than that, using their own imaginations, their own writers to, take it the rest of the way. Apparently they have not got, apparently they're about 7 episodes short of a full, 2 seasons here. So I don't know. My guess is if George had actually completed the series or released another book or so in the series, they probably would have no problem getting 10 full episodes in each of the following 2 years. And maybe they'll do so anyway. I'm hoping maybe I will lead the effort to demand such a thing. Anyway, love to hear your comments on that. Anyway, that's it for today. I'm trying to enjoy a little bit of sunshine, get my vitamin D share today. Be kind to one another. And if you haven't been watching HBO, this is an excellent weekend to get caught up with this series. HBO is free this weekend through, I think, for a couple more days, I think through the 25th. And so you can actually go online right now without, signing up for HBO and, and watch. All the back episodes of Game of Thrones get kind of caught up with it if you haven't done so before. So, hey, here's your opportunity. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you again real soon.